Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Knowledge Doctor. I am Mr. Chando, and today we are diving deep into one of the most exciting areas of artificial intelligence that's called the AI agents. You have probably heard about the LangChain, AutoChain, or the LangGraph, but do you really know that how this framework fit into the bigger ecosystem? So in this video, we'll break down the every sections so you can build and understanding the modern AI agents step by step. Section number 1, Popular Frameworks and Library. Let us start with building blocks, the framework and libraries that make the AI agent possible. The first one is about the LangChains. To go to framework for connecting the large language model tools with the tools and the APIs. You can also call in here the Grok API using the LangChain Grok. I mean, if you're not using the free and open source model from the Grok. Then you can also add some kind of tools, like let's say I'm going to add it here and calculator tools, or let's say I'm going to add it here and weather tools, or let's say I'm going to add it here and Google search tool. I can easily integrate them using the LangChain library. Then the super agents, it's basically handling the agent orchestrations and the multi-agent collaborations. You can creating here multiple types of AI agents, and you can creating here an orchestrations where you can basically collaborate with each of the multiple agents. So that's called the super agents. The third one is the open Devin is perfect for developer agents that can code and execute the tasks the automatically or the autonomously. You can create using here this open Devin framework to create to do the vibe coding as well. Okay. Then fourth one is the AutoZens, is a Microsoft multi-agent communication system. Using that, you can creating here multiple types of agents which can communicate to each others. Then Creo AI is the new one and the most popular one. The focus on semantic-based teamwork. If you need to do the semantic-based teamwork, you can using here the Creo AI. Then LangGraph, my favorite one. Already I created so many projects about that. So it's basically bring the graph-based reasoning and the workflow. So what it can do basically, it will creating here some kind of graph-based workflow. Then you can easily go to the each of the workflow easily. Let's say I'm going to calling here the math agents. So it will automatically go to the flow just like the graph traversal and try to calling this one. That's called a line graph. Agent of it basically monitors the logs and manage the agent in the production levels. Llama Index is basically managing the data loading and the retrieval for your RAG-based agent system. So if you're not creating here any kind of RAG-based agent system, so you can basically easily do this out. Okay. The haystack, it's for modular RAG pipeline for search and knowledge retrieval. You can using here the haystacks. So think of the sections as your agent the toolkits. So everything you need to design, the deploy, and the debugs. So in here you can creating here the projects from my channels actually based on LangGraph. Okay, as well as based on the LangChains. Okay. So if you need any more projects from those framework, or if you need any kind of dedicated video on that, so you can just comment below. The section number is gone. I mean, it's completed. Now let's go to the section number 2. It's called the agent architectures. So next up, how agent actually think and operate their architectures. Plan and execute. See, agent first plan their step, then execute them one by one. See, one by one. Then react, the most important, it is a combination of reason plus the act. It's combine the reasoning and actions loop for the problem solving. So I already also creating here a video about that how can you creating here the multi AI agent systems using here the React JS and the Pythons. So here you also using here this React. Okay, so the React based framework. Okay, it's called React. I should be capital because the reason plus act. The third one is Camel. It's basically enables the collaborative agents that talk to each others. Then the fourth one is a role-based teams. It basically assigning here as a different job. Like you can say that you should work like a researcher, you should work like a writer, you should work like a coders. So you can give it here some role-based system prompt. The hierarchical agents, think of the manager agents. It's basically controlling here the multiple worker agents. So you can basically creating here multiple types of worker agents. Then you can call one of them. Let's say to do for the calculations, it will go for the calculations. Let's say to do for the Google search, it will go for the Google search. Event trigger agents. Event trigger agent is basically happen in the N8N. If you heard about it, the N8N. Let's say how and the event is basically triggered, it will automatically call in them. So activate how and the specific data event is actually occurred. So let's say I know to how and actually open in my Telegram bot. So it will basically call here this Telegram trigger, right? automatically. Then LangGraph-based architecture is basically perfect for graph-based multi-agent reasoning systems. So you have the node in the graph light. So it will basically creating here this kind of agents like that, the graph, and it is calling them based on that. So let's say this is the calculator agents. Let's say this is the weather agents. Let's say this is this is a news agent. So what it can do, it will just go to the like the let's say I calling here the weather agent. It will just calling here these agents as specific agents. Okay, like that. So in short, architecture define how smart the coordinate and reactive your agent can be. So you should also know about these architectures in details, right? That how it actually work. Now section number 3, it is called the intelligence and the learning techniques. Now let's talk about how agent basically learn and adapt to your systems. Okay. The reinforcement learning, so RHF and RLAIF, it basically and reward driven improvement. So you can improve your model by giving some kind of rewards. This is done by the DeepSeek Aaron paper. If you know about it, you can also go and check out the videos at my YouTube channels, DeepSeek Aaron paper explanations. The instructions tuning and the curriculum learning, it basically help the agents to follow some structured logics. You can give it to here. Direct preference optimization, that's called the DPO. It's basically fine-tune models to user preferences that you can fine-tune your model because the ChatGPT do not have the informations, your personal information. So you can easily give it to them and it will fine-tune the model for your user preferences. The contrastive and the embedding planning method, it basically improving here the decision quality. That how your AI basically taking the decisions. The feedback loop and the causal reasoning, especially for agent is learning from the success and the failure. This is how actually reinforcement learning actually working. So you can use this technique for feedback loops and the causal reasoning. It's also used by the DeepSeek R1. Okay, it's called the aha moment. So uncertainty, the estimations, and the adaptive tools basically help the agents know when they are actually unsure. So basically, this is what gives the agent intelligence and reflections, memory, and the improvement over time. Okay. Now let's see section number 4. Section number 4 is called the agent capabilities. Now what can this agent actually do? So it can do the web scraping as well as it can do the browsings. So ChatGPT recently published their ChatGPT at last. It's nothing but one kind of browsers. So here you can basically ask the question to the ChatGPT. You can also modify in your website as well. So you can also order the product. So web scraping, like the beautiful soap, you don't need to using here this one. You can actually using here this kind of, you can creating here an agent. It can automatically scrape the web data. The vector search and the rack, so you know that retrieval augmented generations, you can do the vector search from your vector to database. API calling and the data transformations, you can calling here, let's say I'm going to calling here the Grok API or from the open source model, you can calling any kind of APIs. So real-time monitoring and the code execution, you can do the vibe codings. So workflow automation with tools like the Zapier, the Make, and the N8N. N8N is the most popular. You can creating here and workflow automations which can give do your work correctly. So I already create a video of that in the N8N, that how can you basically creating here and Telegram bots. So here you can basically automate the text. Okay, multi-step planning and the tool selection logics, you can do that. So from here, writing code to analyzing the PDF. So analyzing the PDF is basically help with the rack systems. Then agent can now handle nearly and digital text. Okay, this is section number 4. Now in section number 5, let's see some of the real life, real world applications. So here it gets some exciting real world use cases. Okay, so you can do the automated the research and summarizations. You already create video about that. So you can also follow this out. You can see the Gen AI project playlist. So here you have the 19 projects. So you can see that some of them is about the e-commerce chatbots or the next gen AI code existence. You already talk about that. The agriculture chatbot, the pharmaceutical, the query rack systems. So even you can see that football player face recognition using Llama 4 and the Grok Whisper model, which is an audio model itself. Then AI answer any of the YouTube video questions. Okay, so and also you can see monetary projects. If you're not interested on that, you can also do the monetary projects as well. Okay, so you can follow this out. It will help you to learn about the AI agent smartly. Okay, now let's see the marketing, the content generations. You can create some of the content for the marketings. The customer support automation, you already built about that. The scheduling and the email assistants, you can also creating here an email assistant using the and it and okay workflow automations. The financial forecasting agents, you already create about that, so many of that. Most of the real-time application is available in my YouTube channels. The code refactoring and the test automations, the workflow automations for the CRM systems. Okay, so these are already being developed in business for startup to enterprise the tools. Okay, so just a basic idea. Section number 6. So agent challenges. So but it's all not perfect. Actually, AI agent also have some of the limitations. The first one is a prompt injection attack. So the attacker can actually give some of the bad prompts. So it is called the prompt injection attacks. Then the hallucinations and the retrieval loop is the most important one. Agent think that this is the actual or the correct answer, but this is not the actuals. So let's say I ask a question: what is the capital of India? So it said the Paris. So it's totally the wrong answer. So what AI agent actually do? It will just think that this is the correct answer. This is called the hallucinations. The cost and token consumptions. So because you know that uh, the AI model is not free to use. I mean, some of them free to use, but there is also have some kind of cost and the token consumption. If you are using the OpenAI, it's costly. Or you can, if you are using the Grok, it have some kind of limitations that you can use here free tokens for some of the dollars. But if you are to use it for the lifetime, so you should pay for that. Then privacy and the ethical concerns. So privacy is important. Let's say you are giving here some of the informations. I mean, some of the ethical informations to your GPT model. So it has a problem with the privacy because this is in text models. The versioning inconsistent. Some of the versioning is inconsistent when you are running to the local machines. Lack of generalizations and across the domains. Okay, some of the lacks because it trained on vast amount of data. Okay, so when you are building any agent, so you must balance the automations with safety and the explainability. Okay, these kind of things you need to also think about. You should in your head. Okay, now let's see the support technology. Now the backbone basically called the support technologies. The LLM APIs, GPT-4u, and Claude, the Google Gemini, and the Mistrals. Then embedding you can use from the OpenAI, the Cohere, or the BI, or you can also using from the Hugging Face. The DB, the Pinecone, the Chroma, or the Files, you can use them. The rack pipeline, you can use the LangChain, the Llama Index, and the Here Stack. But basically, we're using the LangChains. The memory system, the MAM-GPT, the AutoGPT, and the OB8. Okay, you can use any of them. So workflow tools, the make JPR, and you can also add one and eight and then observability, the Langsmith and the agent ops. Okay, you can use that for the observability. Okay, so there's technology from the ecosystem that's keep your AI agent connected and searchable and observable. Now let's the final one. That's called the core concept. So finally, let's wrap with the core concepts behind the intelligent agents: the goal-oriented reasonings, the task decompositions, and the planning loops, the chain of thought prompting, the most important one, COT, multi-agent coordinations, the context or adaptations, the human in the loop safety, I mean the human, the hallucinations, the continuous learning and the improvement, and explainability and the transparency. So these are not just buzzwords; they are guide principle of the trustworthy AI systems. Okay, this is the core concept. You need to also learn about these things. So this is how uh, you can learn about these AI agents framework or architectures. You can learn about it. Okay. So that's it from my side. I hope you enjoyed this full tutorial and make sure to subscribe to channels because we are going to start our the DSA multiverse series. The DSA multiverse series. Okay, you're going to start it soon. And we already upload here two videos in our playlist. The first one is about the binary search and second one is a lower bound and upper bound. Okay, so next we will continue this series and try to create more video about that so that you can um, crack some of your dream company. Okay, I will be here, knowledge doctor will be here. Okay, thank you and bye bye.